Sanjeev Ji, a lot of times we hear about, the importance of being present. There's so many videos on it all over. There's that book by Eckhart Tolle. Everyone talks about Power of Now. From a Brhamanda Yog perspective, if you can explain, how can we learn or practice presence and being in the now?
That's a great question. Say, for example, there's a country called Tutaflastov.
Okay.
How would you get there?
I have no idea.
Because if you don't even know what that country is or exists or not, how can, say, if you say, oh, how do you go to New York? You will Google find out a way. But if you don't know what that place is, how would you even find out how to get there?
Yeah.
Similarly, if people talk about being in the moment, being in the present, being in the now. And when I ask them, before you try to go there or be in the now, can you please define for me the present? If I want to be in the present, can you tell me what is present? I know this is what I'm sitting here is present, but how long is it? 3 seconds? 5 seconds? 1 minute?
Mm-hmm.
How, you tell me, Ali, what is the length of the present so that I can practice to be in the present?
Well, you've told me the answer before, so it would be cheating on my part. But I'd rather you say the answer, but I know what it is.
Oh, you know, okay. Remember. So, the now is the present breath I am taking. Inhaling, exhaling. Because the previous breath is gone. The next breath, the future hasn't come. So the present is just as long as my current breath. And all I have to do is become aware of my breath.
Yeah.
And focus on the inhalation and exhalation. And every inhalation, every exhalation will be of the current breath. And I will be in the present. This is the easiest, simplest, and the most scientific way. So I breathe in, my awareness in the breath only. Gone, finished, new one. Then I don't even need to worry about the past or the future, because when I am in connection with my breath, which is keeping me in the present, it will not allow me even to think of my previous or the future breath. Constantly in the now. And that's why a lot of yogis will say, stay connected with your breath. And that is one of the easiest ways, simplest, yet very powerful ways to be in the present. And you keep on practicing. Then slowly it becomes a habit. You're always in the present.
Sanjeev Ji, what is the difference between ordinary meditative practices and our Kriya-based Brhamanda Yoga ones?
Ali, I think I have touched a little bit upon this before in some other, podcast, that meditative is a word very more abused than used or even understood. Person goes, sits in a quiet place, he calls it meditation. It's like, what kind of meditation did you do? Oh, I sat in this beautiful, nice room, comfortable, nice music playing, incense stick burning, and I feel like, you're in a beautiful garden. The birds are singing, the flowers are blossoming. It is relaxation, I would say. It's not meditation. And the thing we touched upon this, that, and when I ask people, what is your goal when you meditate? So my goal is to stop the mind. And I repeatedly say, well, then you are not meditating, you're struggling. If you're trying to stop your mind, control your mind, then that's not meditation, it's a struggle. Real meditation begins when the mind stops. That's the beginning point, not the goal. And how can the mind stops? Is say that if you look at the scriptures of yoga, although there are different kinds of yoga, the authentic ones, but they all are 8 steps. It's yam, niyam, asana, pranayam, pratihar, dharana, dhyan, samadhi. So yam and niyam are do's and don'ts in your life. Try to bring some purity in your life. Don't harm others, and speak the truth. Be helpful to others. So these kind of yam and niyams. And then come the asanas. Means that do the physical postures, make your body strong and flexible. Then comes the pranayama, control of your breath. And then come the meditative stages of pratihar, dharana, dhyan, samadhi. And you cannot bypass these steps. It's not possible. Then you'll be doing something else but not meditating. Meditation has to be through these steps only. So the real, as you say, the real meditation of Brhamanda Yoga is you progress through these steps. You practice these things. And they always stay a part of your regular sadhana. So to properly go into a deeper state and a higher state, your mind must stop first. And that we achieve through our pranayams and pranakriyas, advanced ones. You can stop your mind in a few minutes like this, and I'll be helping people experiencing it in a workshop. So many people come to me. So I've tried so many times and so many places, but the mind doesn't stop. And I says, give me 15 minutes and your mind will definitely stop. And they're surprised when it happens because you're trying the wrong methods. There's no other way than to the right pranayams and pranakriyas. And then you're prepared, you're ready to go in a state of meditation, and that will be going in higher states.
If you could just touch on why it's important that people don't just go Googling pranayams and trying it on their own accord, because they might hear that you saying that in this video, they might go do that. Why is it so important to get the right pranayam and the right pranayams and the right order?
Yeah, because again, like any other thing, right? Say, you can read as many books on medicine stuff, but if you want to be a doctor, you have to go to a proper medical school and learn it properly.
Exactly.
Similarly, pranayams, which are so integral to the practice of Brhamanda Yoga, you cannot learn it from Google.
Yeah.
There are all kinds of people teaching there. God bless them all. I have nothing against anybody.
Yeah.
But if you want to know the authentic thing, then you have to go to the right place.
Exactly. Yeah. Sanjeev Ji, what is the most powerful way for us to get rid of our ego or kill it so it can stop hindering our spiritual progress?
That's a very significant thing that we must all achieve, and yet very difficult to achieve. Ego means that I'm in a constant state of, in a small, narrow world. My focus is that my name, my possessions, the ego usually comes from my looks, my appearance, my material stuff, what I have, or what I've achieved in my life, that I am tall, I'm short, I'm beautiful, I'm strong, I'm a doctor, engineer, I'm a parent, all those things, right? And it just doesn't allow us to look at a broader picture in the life. And it would always cause hindrance. How? Because I'm so attached to these things which are related to my ego that if somebody comes and says something against it, like criticizes it, I get offended. And any offense and any of that negative emotion that come along for a particular person who has said something is a hindrance to a spiritual growth, is a hindrance to your mental peace. So our obsession with our possessions, which are the cause of our ego, are like a real challenge for us. And now I'm so focused on what I have and who I am, only like outwardly, not in my true self. It doesn't allow me to understand other people. So the best way to get rid of ego, and if you try to look around, is to be in a state of gratitude. Now, if I am careful and observant and look all around, there are a million things around me that I can be grateful towards. The sun comes out in the morning. Do I say thank you? No, I don't. The wind is blowing. The trees are giving me oxygen. Am I saying thank you? Am I in a state of gratitude? No, I'm not. Somebody does something for me. I say a cursory thank you only. It doesn't come from the heart. So, am I being now grateful or I'm like in my own ego? So the more we practice to be in a state of gratitude, the less our ego will be hindering.
Right.
And also, there are so many in our scriptures, the ego is described as ahankar or a demon called Mahishasur. And Mahishasur demon changes its form. Today it's my ego is from this source. Tomorrow my ego is you try to kill it, it'll change its form. So the reality is that to understand that we all have ego, whether we want to accept it or we don't want to accept it. And if we try to stay initially at least in a state of gratitude, that will allow me to be connected to my ego lesser and lesser. But the real benefit will come as you do your sadhana, as you go inwards and start healing, start releasing those inner psychic, negativities that I'm holding inside me, which are leading to this ego. That will be like a permanent change.
And one of the biggest things is that you just mentioned that the sadhana, right? And we're doing this workshop coming up soon.
And May 31st, yeah.
Yeah, and I think it'll be a great opportunity for everyone to actually experience the stuff that you're talking about.
Absolutely. So what is this workshop is going to be is it's a 2-hour workshop. It's more or less like an introductory thing.
Right.
So where I'll be able to give everybody who attends an experience of these things.
Yes.
And then we will be coming out in the future, pretty often, longer, workshops, 4 hours, 5 hours each, where we'll have a separate topic like we covered in this podcast and help people experience everything we talk about.
Awesome. Yeah. Because many people were asking. And
Yeah.
it's just really good we're doing this now. I'm excited too.
Yeah, I'm excited, looking forward to it as well.
Can you describe what is the worst kind of ego to have? Because I know there's different kinds and different entities that we talk about in yoga that affect us and represent this ego. What is the worst kind to have? You had mentioned this to me before. And how can we avoid being consumed or deviated by it, especially when we're early in our path and just starting off in the sadhana?
So this again goes to your previous question about, ego. Ego is about the things that I have that truly don't define me as who I am. I truly am. And my attachments towards those things is ego. So the worst kind of egos are like tamasic, like my bad habits, plus my anger, my this. And I can tell you people, I've seen people who are very proud that they are angry. They kind of make it as a trademark. In the past, they were saints that the world was afraid of. Lord Parshuram, before he became self-realized, all this time, he wiped off the entire earth several times of all the warriors. His anger was known. People were scared. Even the saints were scared. The kings were scared. And so these are almost like tamasic egos, Then come the sattvic egos. Means that material possessions, my house, my car, my looks, my education, my children, my parents, my siblings, my titles. And we got caught into this. And it's only like we reach there when we have risen above the tamasic ones. Then it comes the rajasic ones. And the answer to your question, the verse, is as we rise above the rajasic ones, we go to the sattvic ones, is the ego that I am spiritual, that I am on a spiritual path. That becomes a very, very difficult one. Very difficult to kind of overcome. And that's where you need the role of a guru or a self-realized saint to come in your life and help you overcome it. Because it is the worst kind. Because in your mind, I have given up my anger, my negativities. I've given up all my material possessions. And I'll tell you an incident. It's a real one. There was a millionaire. And one day he got very inspired and he gave up his entire wealth to charity. Millions of dollars. And started living like a life of an ordinary person in an ashram. And he became very famous too. Now people would invite him to give talks. And he would go everywhere. And everywhere he'll go, say, I had millions of dollars. I was a very rich man. But when I got into spirituality, I kicked all the money away. I kicked all the money away. And people would clap, applaud, and they would ask questions, he will happily answer. And we go to another place, same story. So I had millions of dollars. One day got inspired, and I kicked all the money away. He kept on going. One day he went to another place where he was invited to talk, and there was a real sadhak sitting there. And as he said, I kicked down money away, millions of dollars. That spiritual sadhak said, sir, you perhaps did not kick it hard enough. I says, what do you mean I did not kick it hard enough? He says, because still sticking your feet. Everywhere you go, you talk about it. So, it's my spiritual that I have become spiritual. And I think I have given up other things, but so many times I haven't. So, it is just a situation where I say, I have risen above these things, but have I truly? Mm-hmm. Then even if I have, then I am spiritual. Means that I'm better than you. Mm-hmm. A person who's truly spiritual, who has risen above these things, he will never say such things. They become so simple. You look at a self-realized saint, he would be so simple. He will never talk much about himself or his own stories or anything that I did, that I'm spiritual, I do this bad. Nothing. They become like children. Mm-hmm. Pure and simple.
So Sanjeev Ji, the next question I had is, okay, so we touched on ego, and this is a huge component of it, and it's anger. And my question is, how does anger hold us back in our spiritual path and from our ascension?
Again, they're both kind of somehow linked, anger and ego. Where does anger come from? When something that I'm attached to is attacked or criticized or challenged,
Mhm.
or I'm told I'm wrong, that's when the anger comes.
Mhm.
So what we do in this case is that anybody who brings this up, we get angry at that person, right? Say, for example, imagine I'm standing next to a wall, right? And the other side of the wall is a dog who cannot see me. I take a curved stick and I poke the dog. He'll get angry. He'll bark and I'll do it again 2, 3 times. They'll snap and try to bite this. And the dog can only see the stick. So he's trying to be angry and trying to bite the stick only.
Mm.
But he doesn't know that somebody else is holding the stick, which the dog cannot see,
Yeah.
who's the real culprit.
Yeah. Exactly.
And that's what happens in this case too. That when anger comes out, it's because we have been holding it within us for a long time from our past experiences, from our past bitternesses, like, people have done things to us. And it just takes any trigger for someone to come to say or do something. And it's not that I'm angry at that person, but it's my old anger that I'm storing within myself
Yeah.
is coming up to the surface. And it's almost like I'm vomiting on this person. So we have to understand this, that I am the dog who's trying to bite the stick. And I'm not going to the root cause. The root cause is my own karma, my own experiences, my negative psychic impressions that I'm holding within me.
Mhm.
And once again, I keep on saying this ad nauseum, that one of the solutions again is sadhana.
Yeah.
How can you remove those psychic impressions? I don't know of any other way except sadhana. I don't know. I mean, I have been learning since the age of 12,
Yeah.
and I'm still very, very actively learning. And for me to have come across any other way, I don't know. I mean, there could be shortcuts available, hypnosis or this or that, but I cannot confirm to that. Sorry, it is like you're kind of taking a tool in such cases. Instead of making it stronger, you're having somebody else control it. So I don't recommend that.
Would it even have the same energetic benefits?
Maybe short-lived, short-term, but eventually, say for example, somebody is in a lot of pain. You give them an opium, like opium-derived painkiller, a strong one. It may lead to short-term benefit, but long term you're gonna get addicted to the
Yeah.
opiate,
Yeah.
which will cause more problems than your pain in the first place.
What are belief systems and how do they control us?
So let me just first of all explain the concept of a belief system that all of us, including you, if you think you're living your life by choice, you're hugely mistaken. Your life is being controlled by the belief system that you're carrying within yourself.
Yes.
And what are again belief systems? Belief system is that something happens in my life and it's repeated a few times. And then it becomes a belief system. And later on in your life, you think you are making a choice, but in fact, this belief system that you have created is making a choice. So I'll give an example. I was maybe 10, 11, 12 years old, and I was taken by my mom to some shopping area, and she bought me like a snack to eat, very popular in India. I ate it. Next morning I woke up. I started throwing up. And the taste of that food snack kept coming, and I kept throwing all day long. Until today, I cannot look at it, I cannot smell it. It makes me feel nauseatic. So when that particular food comes in front of me, I think I'm making a choice that I'm not going to eat it. But it's the belief that is going to make me throw up again, and most likely it won't,
Yeah.
is making that decision for me to not eat. Similarly, something happens to you in the past, some trauma, could be related to a color or something, and you will not do it again.
I was bitten by a dog when I
Yeah.
was very young.
Yeah.
And for many years,
Yeah.
that I was scared of dogs.
There you go. So these are our belief systems. And we, as we grow older, we create so many of them that our choices are now being governed by these belief systems,
Right.
whereas they have no relevance left. And unless and until we understand that these belief systems have started governing our lives, we'll keep on living like this. We keep on thinking that we are making choices, but actually these belief systems are making the choices for us. And once again, sadhana. You go inside, and you burn those old belief systems. And then you replace them with positive belief systems.
Yeah.
That's again what we call transformation.
Sanjeev Ji, how do we know if we are truly progressing in sadhana or whether it's just in our imagination? How can we differentiate the two?
Let me ask you, Ali. How do you think that today you did your sadhana, it helped you, benefited you? Or like, I mean, how do you look at it? Like, do you feel great and like, when you finish sadhana, feel nice or what?
There's a sense of inner knowingness that develops, that you just know that like it's much greater than anything that our mind can perceive, it feels like. So there's just a sense of knowingness that comes as beyond words. So I feel like that's just the last trick of the ego when it's trying to ask us these, like whether it's working or not.
It's still complicated. We make it simple. I'll tell you a small story. It will help you understand.
Yeah.
On the mountains in India, there are still some saints
Yeah.
sitting in the caves and doing a sadhana. And there are small villages in the heights in the mountains in India. And very nice, simple people, villagers who live there. And as the weather changes, they have to take their cattle higher and higher for grazing. So this one man, taken his cattle, a villager, and there are a lot of caves there. And he observed that in one of the caves, a saint is sitting. And they all know the process, like they do not disturb the meditation, they know there. So all he did was he went there and make sure all the things around is clean. And he kind of, from his pot of water that he was carrying, he filled his, container of water. And he served, as in India, people, a lot of these small places, they know how to serve these saints. And eventually he waited, and eventually the saint opened the eyes. And so the villager bowed down and asked for blessings. And then the saint told him, I've been in this cave for the last 10 years. And I've been meditating. And the villager was very happy. He says, why don't you please come to our village and grace us, And he agreed. So on such and such day, I'll come. And he went and told the good news to the villagers. They were all happy on the day he was to arrive. Everybody kind of gathered together. There are very few or small flat surfaces in the mountains.
Right.
So there's a small flat surface where, people used to gather. And since the whole village was there, was jam-packed. And they were waiting for the saint to come, but then nobody had seen his face, what he looks like.
Okay.
Even this villager who saw him, it was in the dark, even he did not know. And this saint came, and as he kind of went into the crowd to go to the stage where they had made, people started pushing him. Nobody recognized who he is. And he got pushed, somebody stomped on his feet, and he got angry. And he said, "Do you know who I am?" And everybody went silent. Says, "I am the saint you're waiting for. And you're treating me like this." Oh, they were all scared, so they all apologized. Respectfully, they took him to the front. And he says, "Please give us some wisdom." And he said, "First of all, I want to thank you for inviting me here. And I'm sorry for my outburst that I had. But in fact, I cannot give you any wisdom. In fact, I'm going back." And the villagers were surprised. Says, "Going back to your cave?" He said, "No, I'm going back into the world." Means that I sat in this cave, meditated for 10 years, thinking I have controlled my emotions. But the moment I came amongst people and somebody stepped on my foot and my anger came out, that means all my sadhana that I was doing had not much of a benefit. So I'm going back into the world and do my sadhana there so that I can check my responses to the world. So the answer to your question is, how do we know we are progressing, is that if my behavior is changing, if other people around me are telling that I'm more calm, I'm more peaceful, I am changing. So this is a measure of your family being the closest one. If they change, they say you're changing. That means your sadhana is working. Because we are not into pure sciences thing. This is Brhamanda Yoga is also applied science. That if you are progressing, and if it's not showing in your behavior in your life on a day-to-day basis, then my question is, why are you meditating? So this is the best way to know whether your sadhana is working or not.
It starts right at home. Sanjeev Ji, does the devil exist?
I'll ask you back, do you want him to exist or not?
I'm a horror movie fan, so maybe, no, I'm kidding. No, definitely not.
See, there is a saying in our Shastras, and that's in Hindi, I say that, "Man hi karta, mani bhogta." Means the mind creates and mind experiences. Now, it's up to me what I create in my mind, in my life, and once I do, I experience it. So, I'll give you a small example, a small story again. There's a mention of this kalpavriksha in our scriptures, means that a tree that looks like an ordinary one, but if you sit underneath it,
Yeah.
all your wishes become fulfilled. So in old days in India, there was a traveler. He was traveling. Long journey. He ran out of food. He ran out of water. And no town or like village coming that he can do, and he was exhausted. And to kind of take some rest, he sat down under a tree to relax for some time, catch his breath. And he did not know that this was this particular tree that he sat on, a special tree. And as he rested a bit, and then all of a sudden, the hunger caught up on him. And his mind started imagining those his favorite food, And lo and behold, he saw a pile of all this food that he was thinking of lying in front of him. And he was so hungry and exhausted that he didn't think anything. And they were like fresh, piping hot, and like he just ate to his heart's content. And when he finished eating, his thing goes, I'm so thirsty. This, nice, cool lemonade or something comes in front of me. Or if it would be great if I could have. And lo and behold, the drink is in front of him. He drank that. And then this, his hunger, his thirst has been taken care of. And the mind that was hallucinating a bit starts kind of getting real. And then he said, I'm in the middle of a forest. Where does food and the drink come from? And then he thinks, is there a devil or a demon around hiding somewhere? And then, and what if he comes in front of me from the hiding? And the demon came in front of him. He says, what if he comes towards me? And the demon started coming towards him. And he says, what if he eats me?
Oh, man.
And he ate it. So, we are also sitting under that special culprit tree that it is my mind that is creating. His mind created the demon out of nowhere. And his mind created the desire that it's going to eat me. And if a mind says, there's nothing like that, how can there be a creation? So, everything is a creation of my mind. Want to create a demon? Go ahead, Ali, do it.
So can the devil be just symbolic of negative energies that we speak of?
Of course.
So in that sense, he's very real.
If you create him,
Okay. How does one's mental health, Sanjeev Ji, how does it benefit from the practices and meditations of Brhamanda Yoga?
that's a very pertinent and a very relevant, significant question, Ali. We know we live in North America, right? So, as per statistics, 50 to 60% people are suffering from depression, adults. And they say, and they are on medications. And they say the other 30 or 40% have not been diagnosed yet. I mean, everybody is. And it's a result of the stresses that we have created. And of course, as we grow older, the accumulation of the stresses within is getting higher. But it's affecting so much more now with the youth, with the children.
Yeah.
There is so much pressure on them.
Yeah.
From the schools, from the parents, from the society, from the social media. And it's all the stress that we have created is leading to so much of mental health. Like every other child is diagnosed or labeled with something, ADHD, ADD, or something or the other, XYZ. Because we are good in finding these problems, but we are not good in finding the solutions for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we have disconnected from our real self. Or like real self, forget the real self. We are not even connected to our physical self. Look at anybody, a child scrolling through the, Instagram or TikTok every day, non-stop. He doesn't even have a connection to his body. He's so connected to the phone and the social media in front of him. There is a total disconnect. And this is what that leads, because this leads to uncertainty. Uncertainty causes even more stress. And this accumulation of stress is causing all the mental health issues.
Yeah.
And it's so important, for sure, to work on everyone, but to work on the youth.
Yeah.
It is so, so significant. That's so important.
Yeah.
So, and we say once again, ad nauseum, my thing is the answer is, solution is introduce these children to sadna, or at least the pranayams, to kind of stay connected. So, sooner as possible. But the parents, if they are not kind of themselves having an inkling, an idea of what a stress-free life is, how can they pass it on to the children or explain to the children how to lead their lives? Which is very sad.
And the samskaras start early for us, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, very true.
For our upcoming workshop, we'll be posting the link in the description soon. We will also pin it in the comment of this video. And we will also share it in the community tab.
And to watch our previous podcasts, click here.